Alright, here we go. Alright. Welcome back to Super Sentai Review, episode 461. So, we basically have about 2 more videos after this one to discuss stuff with Ninninger. So, what basically for this, we're discussing first Ninninger versus ToQger and episodes 44 to 45 of Ninninger. This movie, we'll talk about the movie first. I read basically the placement thing is kind of tricky, and some could place it just before the ending of episode 43, which is kind of weird, like before the ending, because the episode leads into the 4-part finale of this particular series. So we start off with our Rangers basically on a train. Well, because ToQger's here, basically we have trains going on here. We'll get to that. So then they reach a tunnel. Like, oh, it's a concert, and King gets dragged into his concert. And then he's pulled away by the pink ToQger Ranger. Yep. And then we have, Spy. So then we have Yano, Fuka, and Katsumi. And they're pulled away from this scenario by the green ToQger. Yep. Actually, I think it's like Fuka's own left, because I think it just... I think it's Naka. I think it's Naka, Yamo, and Katsumi, I think it was. And Fuka basically is still with, of course, her brother. And, of course, he's wondering, like, where did everybody go? And then, of course, basically, well, they're kind of in, they have, a dream wedding. And this is kind of funny. So, her dream wedding is trying to get married to the blue ToQger. Yep. Yeah, this is kind of funny. And of course, basically, looking up, basically, Yellow shows up to basically pull him out of the thing. And then they wake up back in the train. And then they're attacked by the grunts of ToQger and Ninninger. Of course, Blue proceeds to blow a window in the train. By the way, it's actually revealed this train is a yokai. More like a cleaner combined with a yokai. And this particular creature was actually teased in episode 43. Yes. So, you look at the creature like, wait, he has a yokai face, but he's obviously possessing a cleaner. Basically, that's the trains that the Dark Shadow line uses. And apparently, we're going to Ninja Land, and it's a dark Ninja Land. And of course, Right, of course, following behind them with, of course, the main mech, basically, that ToQger uses. So, and then, well, Taka wakes up in Dark Ninja Land, and he meets, basically, the person who runs it. Dark Dr. Marvo. Well, a fun fact about this guy. Did you know this guy's costume was actually used as the inspiration for Power Rangers exclusive villain Scrozzle? Yes, that character who first appeared in Beast Morphers, who later appeared in Dino Fury and Cosmic Fury, was inspired by a villain who technically was from ToQger. Well, basically the line of villains. Yeah, which made him like one of 3 villains who kind of shows up in Power Rangers in not the series they came from. Because you had Baron Nero himself pop up in Ninja Steel, despite the fact that, here's kind of the thing, this movie is the only time he ever encountered a Ninjanger. While in the case of Ninja Steel, well, basically it was replaced his head with basically named Cosmo Royale. Despite the fact this character has nothing to do with the show, and also the fact he interacted with a character he never met ever in the whole time basically he was around. As for the character Odious, who is Cosmo's counterpart, yeah, he does interact with him. Only, like, maybe vaguely briefly, and that's it. They, of course, use Madame Noir for the Void Queen in Dino Fury. Still wondering why in the world they decided to use that costume for that character. Which, I love Madame Noir because basically, out of all the villains, she has the best costume. Yeah, she looks fantastic. Like, by far, if anybody ever watched ToQger, the villain, she's the most memorable thing about this show. Because her voice actress is fantastic. The suit looks amazing. And the fact that in this show, in this movie, she fight. Of course, you see her back. This time, basically made into a ninja clone, where she used an umbrella, just like using the show. So then, apparently, they decided to use 3 actual real life ninjas for this movie. Well, based on them, anyways. Where apparently the guy decides to bring back Hanzo. I think it was like a Verge or Toby, like Wonder guy, I think it was. Yes, and so, he actually brought back Schwartz, Manowar, and Baron Nero. Schwartz as Isakawa Schwartz Galmon. Madame Noir as Musaguki Noir Clamon. Baron Nero as Nagara Nero Sasuke. And so in order to break in, they also did this thing where he's like, basically, let's let the 3 evil clones of good ninjas merge with Aka Ninjanger to form Dark Aka Ninjanger. At least it's one, not a whole freaking team, because I should point out, though, this is a common Sentai trope. Sentai loves using the evil versions of these characters. They usually appear once, but it's a classic Sentai trope, and thank God I only say it for the movie, because it would be awkward if you use it in the show, because they just used it in the previous season. And of course, he gets out of it. Tak apparently is considered leftovers, and he disappeared very soon. Yeah, and then of course, to break in, we have one gate guarded by Schwartz, one by Madame Noir, and the other one, of course, guarded by Baron Nero. Now, how they break in is interesting. So, Schwartz is basically thwarted by, I think it was... I'm trying to think. I think it was Blue and a couple others. Well, in the case of Madame Noir, it's basically Yellow, who basically was actually closely acquainted with Miss Greta, Madame Noir's daughter. Well, she's like, wait, Madame Noir's back. Yeah, at least she had a reaction to see her back. But it's obviously a clone. It's not actually her. So they sneak past her by using a haze. Baron Nero apparently is attracted to Keen, who's disguised as a woman here. And then Akira shows up. Yes, Akira. Oh, and by the way, Dr. Morrow's plan? Cover the war in darkness. Basically, the Shadow Empire's plan from ToQger. He's kind of come back his plan. Those of you curious, why the heck did he not show up in the show itself? Well, they do give an explanation of why he wasn't there. He was on vacation, a dark vacation. And apparently he's not upset by the fact that the leadership is gone. The fact that Zet basically has disappeared into darkness. Or also the fact that the main palace has been destroyed. Yeah. That's quite something. So then, of course, we have Akira show up, and of course he says, I'm looking for a place to work. And Dr. Morrow's like, what were we actually going to say? Because that was his catchphrase the whole show. He was looking for, because the man was very suicidal in the show. He's like, I'm looking for a place to die. because this is where I'm going to die. He does also the thing where he tosses his sword away, but he just back up. Also, the conductor is mentioned in this movie, but no appearance by him. I thought that was kind of weird. I think he was featured in the ToQger Returns movie, but that takes place in the future. I'll watch that when I watch Boomlanger. But ToQger was here. Yep. Yes, let's take a come out of like Wright's little chimney thing in his cockpit. As for why they couldn't have the conductor here, my guess, the actor probably wasn't available. That's probably what happened. Yeah, he probably was not available for this team up. But in the case of, those of you curious, did they bring back the voice actors for Barry Nero, Maddie Noir, and Schwartzman? Yes, they did. From what I can tell, it sounds like basically the same people from the show, which good on basically for them doing that. And also, Dr. Barber loves ninjas. Even if he doesn't like the Ninninger, he still loves ninjas. So it's like a big humongous thing. Yes, there's even a mech fight where you even have Dr. Marvel go giant size. The two mechs basically fight. We even have basically an exclusive form where we have the two main mechs merge into one. Very cramped. With like, oh my gosh, like what appears to be like 12 people in a cockpit. And in the course they destroy Dr. Marvel. And by the way, in case you're curious about this movie, like, wait, I thought they were turned back into kids at the ToQger. They kind of get the explanation with this that they were temporarily turned back into adults for reasons per se. They weren't exactly very clear about that in the movie, though. Not what I saw from the sub. But unlike other team-ups, which basically the only major problem with this particular team-up is basically its placement for ToQger. That's not ToQger, Ninninger. That was the most tricky thing about it. The movie looked fantastic. The movie was only released like 9 years ago. You're like, really? Actually, I think it was like 10. Oh my gosh, yeah, it was 9 years ago. Wow, for a movie that came out 9 years ago, the movie still looks really good. Oh, and what happened to the yokai who debuted here? Well, Yokai Wano basically leaves Dark Ninja Land with, of course, Kazama, who doesn't do anything this whole movie. He just shows up and just relates info like he does in the main series. And then, this is kind of interesting. So, and then all of a sudden he's terrorized you outside of Dark Ninja Land, where he's attacked by the debuting, I kid you not, the ToQgers. Yes, they all show up here and they attack him. And of course, like, oh, isn't he basically a Deku? Like, oh, I guess basically, like, that hasn't happened yet. And this episode was loosely adapted for Ninja Steel. The whole thing of anniversary thing, that they basically had it where, well, but all in all, the movie was good. Yeah, not a bad movie overall. Akira doesn't do much in the movie, surprisingly. For being a Six Ranger, I mean, I know, I do appreciate that Ninninger basically took a little more charge this movie, which is great. I like all the interaction with the characters between the two teams. Even love their mass team that they have. Heck, we even have both the Last Ninja and, of course, basically Tomoji Pop here too. Dark Ninja is actually briefly destroyed, and Takabiri dies, so it comes back. But is this movie the end of the Shadow Line? Like, like, is there any appearances after this movie came out that features them? Well, as an organization, this was the last thing officially released for them. I mean, is this movie a tie up a loose end from the show, like in the case of the previous movie they did, which was the team between ToQger and ToQger? Not necessarily, no. It's just a fun team movie. Unlike in the case of the last one, which I was teased with the finale of ToQger, this felt like something they just had to do because people probably missed ToQger, so they probably brought it back. Oh yeah, and they do the thing of imagination. Yeah, they do that, except basically it's Last Ninja doing it, which is hilarious. The fact he's doing it because that was something the conductor said a lot in ToQger. But chronologically, this movie is set before ToQger returns because that's set in the year 2025, which is basically about 9 years after this movie. And this movie is set 1 year after ToQger. And the next time that they pop up is actually in Boomerang, chronologically, of course. And then ToQger returns. Yep. But we're not done just yet with this video. Oh no, we still have 2 episodes of Ninninger to discuss. So 44 opens, we finally see the full glory of basically the main villain of ToQger, of Ninninger. Excuse me. Outside of flashbacks, this episode in particular is the first episode to feature Gentetsu Kenobi for the first time in this show. Like, outside of like a foundation. This was actually his first appearance in the show since episode 34. Yes, seriously. That was the last official time he was seen in the show, which was interesting to say the least. And he's back here, and of course this is where they find out, the fact that that Zoei is the eldest son and the main villain of the show. Oh yeah, and there's no new yokai this episode. Oh no, it's the chief retainer on the field, and they battle him this episode. It takes a bit of time, but they actually beat him. Yes, for a character who's been in this show since episode 13, it's shocking how long he lasted for. Oh yeah, and in the same episode he died, they brought back Renzo Gabi, who'd been dead since episode 12. Yes. It was interesting they brought him back. Yeah, also Akari, the madam, the one who's Guzman's stepmom. Yeah, she appears in 44, but takes the episode up, and she comes back in 46. Yeah. So, oh yeah, and a lot of the episode, part of the episode is Last Ninja fighting, of course. Gentetsu. And the big thing with next episode I think it is, because the fact that Gebi's back, well, they had the Rangers battle Zoei, and a big plot point happens. Taka's father gets his Ninpo back. Yep. And then with that, gets the outfit back out again, first time since early on the show. And then of course, basically, there was this magic item inside of this statue, which basically was left by his father. And then with him getting the power back, he gives number 1 ninja sword, and then 45 has this big ending by having the entire clan all morph. The last ninja doesn't have a morpher. He just does usually a Ninpo move, and then he somehow morphs. And then have him, his son, his grandson, worse will all be Red Ranger. Yes, this scene was basically used for Ninja Steel, except with that one, it was basically the regular Red Ranger, his father, and Mechanic. Yeah, that's literally what they did with that one. Except what they did, how I was able to accomplish that, was they split the Ninja Star into 3 pieces. And that's how they were able to do that little thing. Here, it's basically like The last ninja transforms himself, and that kind of ends the episode. 45, there's actually, well, sadly put, this will be the last time we see, because he's wounded anyways, he's about to die, is Zoyai. Yeah, this was actually his last appearance as his character. Well, we get a chance to see a change in the very next episode. Actually, well, in episode 46. 46 is the penultimate episode. Yep. And I'll discuss that next. But these episodes are really good. I love these episodes. This endgame so far is, it's like, yeah, it's like kind of sad for the first parts, but at least part 2 basically has it where we have a step up here, which I thought was really cool. Oh yeah, and also the whole thing, like the first episode, it's like, oh, basically the last ninja takes Taka on test. And the test is basically to convince basically it's the last ninja to convince his grandson to kill him. And that's not the person there that, of course, he loves his grandfather. He does not want to kill him. It just doesn't seem right. In flashback, they show the current last ninja where he kills his father because he thought he was hesitant. Nope, he basically is perfectly fine with it. Which you're like, what? So to become the last ninja, they have to kill the predecessor? And then it's shown the fact that, yeah, they kind of evolved beyond his teachings, but he thought they tossed away his teachings. No, they actually kept his teachings. They basically upheld them by doing their own stuff. Which I thought was really cool. I like the development they have. But sadly put, this series is going to end really soon. Well, in the next episode, we're going to see the end of, like, something. We'll find out, basically. Excuse me. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. Next up we have is basically more Super Sentai. Okay, next video. Bye.